Born into wealth. The early years of Donald J. Trump. Donald John Trump, the fourth child of Fred Trump and Mary Ann McLeod Trump, was born in Queens, New York, on June 14, 1946. His birth into a wealthy family set the stage for a life filled with opportunities and expectations. His father, Fred, was a successful real estate developer who specialized in building and operating middle-class housing in the boroughs of Brooklyn and Queens. Fred's business acumen and relentless work ethic were well known, and he was determined to pass these traits on to his children. Donald grew up in Jamaica Estates, a wealthy enclave of Tudor-style homes, experiencing a life of privilege from a young age. The neighborhood was known for its affluence and exclusivity, providing a comfortable and secure environment for the Trump family. He attended the Kew Forest School, a private school near his home, where he quickly gained a reputation as a boisterous and energetic child. His behavior often drew attention, both positive and negative, from teachers and peers alike. Some reports suggest that his behavior was occasionally disruptive, leading his parents to enroll him in the New York Military Academy at the age of 13. This decision was made in hopes of providing him with a more disciplined and structured environment. The New York Military Academy provided a structured environment where Donald thrived in certain aspects. The rigorous schedule and strict discipline helped channel his energy into more productive pursuits. He excelled in athletics, becoming a star athlete in baseball and football. His competitive nature and physical prowess made him a standout on the field, earning him respect and recognition from his peers. He also displayed a knack for leadership, rising to become a student captain. This role allowed him to develop his leadership skills and gain experience in managing and motivating others. However, his time at the academy was not without its challenges. The strict environment sometimes clashed with his independent spirit, leading to occasional conflicts with authority figures. He clashed with authority figures at times and exhibited a competitive streak that bordered on ruthless. This competitive nature would later become a defining characteristic of his business and personal life. These early experiences would prove to be formative, shaping the personality and drive that would characterize his later life. The lessons learned during these years would stay with him, influencing his decisions and actions in the future. Despite his privileged upbringing, Donald was expected to learn the value of hard work from a young age. His father believed that understanding the business from the ground up was essential for success. His father, Fred, instilled in him a strong work ethic, often bringing Donald along to construction sites and involving him in various aspects of the family business. These hands-on experiences were invaluable in teaching him the realities of the real estate industry. These early experiences provided Donald with a first-hand look at the world of real estate development and instilled in him an understanding of deal-making and negotiation. He learned the importance of attention to detail and the value of persistence. Fred Trump, a shrewd and ambitious businessman, became a significant influence on Donald, teaching him the intricacies of the real estate market and the importance of maximizing profits. Fred's guidance was instrumental in shaping Donald's business philosophy. The impact of his parents, particularly his father, on Donald's character and ambitions cannot be overstated. Their expectations and values were deeply ingrained in him from a young age. Fred's relentless drive and business acumen left an indelible mark on the young Trump, shaping his approach to business and fostering a deep-seated desire to succeed, even if it meant pushing boundaries and challenging conventional norms. This drive would become a hallmark of Donald's career. These formative years spent navigating the world of privilege and observing the dynamics of the family business laid the foundation for Donald Trump's future endeavors, both in the boardroom and on the world stage. The lessons learned and the values instilled during this time would guide him throughout his life, influencing his decisions and shaping his path to success. Entering the family business from Wharton to the Grand Hyatt. After graduating from the New York Military Academy in 1964, Donald Trump enrolled at Fordham University, following in the footsteps of his father. His time at Fordham was marked by a keen interest in business and real estate, areas that would define his future career. However, he would spend only 2 years at Fordham before transferring to the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania, one of the most prestigious business schools in the country. This move was strategic, as Wharton was renowned for its rigorous curriculum and influential alumni network. At Wharton, Trump focused on real estate studies, eager to absorb the knowledge and skills he believed would be essential to succeed in the family business. He was particularly interested in courses that covered property management, investment strategies, and urban development. While at Wharton, Trump secured a drafts deferment for bone spurs in his feet, a diagnosis that would later be called into question during his presidential campaign. This deferment allowed him to concentrate fully on his studies and future business endeavors. He joined his father's company, the Trump Organization, in 1968 after graduating from Wharton with a degree in economics. This marked the beginning of his formal entry into the world of real estate, where he would soon make a significant impact. Though born into wealth, Trump was determined to prove himself as a shrewd businessman in his own right. He was not content to merely inherit his father's success. He wanted to expand and redefine the family business. He initially focused on expanding the family's holdings in Brooklyn and Queens, targeting middle-class renters. These areas provided a stable income stream and were less risky compared to the high-stakes Manhattan market. However, Trump had his sights set on Manhattan, the heart of New York City's real estate market and a symbol of wealth and power. He believed that true success in real estate could only be achieved by conquering this competitive landscape. He believed that to truly make his mark, he needed to conquer Manhattan's competitive real estate landscape. This ambition drove him to seek out opportunities that others might have overlooked or deemed too challenging. One of his first major projects in Manhattan was the renovation of the Commodore Hotel, a once grand hotel that had fallen into disrepair. The hotel's location near Grand Central Terminal made it a prime candidate for redevelopment. The project, partnership with the Hyatt Hotel Corporation was a massive undertaking that tested Trump's negotiation skills and his ability to navigate the complexities of New York City's bureaucracy. Securing the necessary permits and financing required relentless effort and strategic thinking. The project was not without its challenges, as Trump faced skepticism from some quarters who doubted his ability to pull it off. Investors were wary, and the regulatory environment was notoriously difficult to navigate. However, Trump persevered, using a combination of charm, persistence, and hard-nosed negotiation tactics to secure financing and overcome regulatory hurdles. His ability to persuade and his relentless drive were key factors in the project's eventual success. The Commodore Hotel reopened as the Grand Hyatt in 1980, a gleaming testament to Trump's ambition and his ability to execute a complex real estate deal. The transformation was remarkable, turning a dilapidated property into a luxurious destination. The Grand Hyatt's success established Trump as a major player in the Manhattan real estate market and marked the beginning of his ascent to becoming a household name. This project was a turning point, showcasing his ability to take on and complete high-profile developments. The experience of transforming the dilapidated Commodore into the luxurious Grand Hyatt not only boosted Trump's confidence, but also provided valuable lessons in branding, financing, and navigating the often murky waters of New York City politics. Lessons he would carry with him throughout his career. This project laid the foundation for his future ventures and solidified his reputation as a formidable force in real estate. The media magnet. Trump's early embrace of the spotlight. From his early days in Manhattan real estate, Donald Trump was not just another businessman trying to make a name for himself. He was a visionary who saw the potential of media as a powerful tool to elevate his status and influence. Donald Trump possessed an innate understanding of the power of media and its ability to shape public perception. He knew that the media could be a double-edged sword, but he was willing to take the risk. He recognized that cultivating a larger-than-life persona and courting media attention could be just as valuable as bricks and mortar when it came to building his empire. This was a strategic move that set him apart from his competitors. He developed a keen instinct for identifying opportunities to insert himself into the public consciousness, often through bold pronouncements, calculated controversies, and a willingness to engage with reporters and columnists. His statements were designed to provoke and capture attention. Trump became a fixture in the gossip columns of New York City tabloids, his personal life scrutinized as much as his business dealings. This constant media presence kept him in the public eye, making him a household name. He was known for his flamboyant lifestyle, dating high-profile women, and frequenting Studio 54, the epicenter of New York City's nightlife. His appearances at such high-profile venues only added to his mystique and allure. His penchant for self-promotion, often bordering on boasting, both amused and irritated the media, but it undeniably kept his name in the headlines. This relentless self-promotion was a calculated effort to remain relevant and influential. This early mastery of manipulating media narratives, for better or worse, proved to be a valuable asset in the years to come. He understood the mechanics of media and used it to his advantage. He recognized that controversy could be just as effective as praise when it came to generating publicity. Controversy, in many ways, was a tool he wielded with precision. He was never afraid to engage in public feuds, often with rivals, critics, or anyone he perceived as challenging his authority. These confrontations were not just personal. They were strategic moves to keep the spotlight on him. These feuds, often played out in the pages of newspapers and on television, only served to amplify his notoriety. Each feud was a chapter in the ongoing saga of Donald Trump, keeping audiences hooked. Trump understood that in the world of media, there was no such thing as bad publicity, and he was willing to court controversy to keep his name in the public eye. This fearless approach to media relations was a hallmark of his career. Trump's willingness to engage with the media, coupled with his undeniable charisma and knack for crafting a compelling narrative, made him a media darling. His ability to tell a story that resonated with the public was unparalleled. He was a frequent guest on talk shows and news programs, always eager to share his opinions on everything from real estate to politics. His appearances were not just about promoting his business, they were about building his brand. He understood the importance of connecting with audiences beyond the financial pages and cultivated an image as a successful businessman with a common touch, someone who spoke his mind and wasn't afraid to challenge the status quo. This image made him relatable to many. This carefully constructed persona resonated with a segment of the public who admired his brash style and perceived him as an outsider, willing to shake things up. His ability to tap into the public's desire for change was a key factor in his enduring appeal. Seeds of ambition, early political aspirations, and flirtations. Donald Trump's foray into the political arena wasn't a sudden leap, but rather a carefully calculated dance he had engaged in for decades. As early as the 1980s, his name was whispered as a potential candidate. His brand of brash confidence and business acumen, seen by some as a potential asset in the political sphere. He flirted with the idea of running for office several times, even briefly exploring a presidential bid in 1988 on the Reform Party ticket. These early explorations, though ultimately fleeting, showcased Trump's awareness of his own political capital and his understanding of the power of name recognition. He relished the attention and platform that came with being perceived as a potential political force, using it to amplify his views on issues ranging from the economy to foreign policy. His pronouncements, often delivered with his signature bluntness, resonated with a segment of the population who felt increasingly disillusioned by the political establishment and drawn to his image as a successful outsider. His public criticisms of politicians, whom he often labeled as ineffective and out of touch, further fueled speculation about his political ambitions. Trump's foray into the political spotlight intensified in the 2000s with his outspoken criticism of President George W. Bush's handling of the Iraq War and the subsequent economic downturn. He positioned himself as a voice of the common man, a successful businessman who understood the struggles of everyday Americans facing economic hardship. This populist rhetoric, combined with his media savvy and ability to command attention, laid the groundwork for his eventual entry into the political arena. His decision to publicly question President Barack Obama's birthplace and legitimacy as president, a movement known as birtherism, marked a turning point. While widely condemned as racist and unfounded, it energized a segment of the conservative base who felt increasingly marginalized and distrustful of the government. By tapping into this vein of discontent and exploiting racial anxieties, Trump further solidified his image as a political outsider, willing to challenge the status quo, regardless of the controversy it generated. The policy battlefield, healthcare, immigration, and the tax cuts. The Trump presidency was defined by a series of legislative battles, executive orders, and policy pronouncements that often upended decades of established norms and sparked fierce resistance from his opponents. One of his first major legislative priorities was the repeal and replacement of the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, a campaign promise that had resonated with his base. Despite controlling both houses of Congress, Republicans struggled to unite behind a replacement plan, and the effort ultimately failed, exposing the deep divisions within the party and Trump's limitations as a legislative dealmaker. Immigration, a central theme of his campaign, became another flashpoint of his presidency. He signed executive orders banning travel from several Muslim-majority countries, a move widely condemned as discriminatory and challenged in court. His administration implemented a zero-tolerance policy at the southern border, resulting in the separation of thousands of migrant children from their parents, sparking international outrage and widespread condemnation. The construction of a wall along the US-Mexico border, a signature campaign promise, became a symbol of his hardline immigration stance. On the economic front, Trump signed into law a sweeping tax cut bill that disproportionately benefited corporations and wealthy Americans. He argued that the tax cuts would stimulate economic growth and create jobs. But critics argued that they would primarily benefit the wealthy and explode the national debt. The tax cuts, along with deregulation efforts in various industries, became a cornerstone of his economic agenda. But their long-term impact on the economy and income inequality remained a subject of debate. The early years of Trump's presidency were marked by a constant churn of policy pronouncements, often delivered via Twitter, that kept his opponents on their toes and created an atmosphere of uncertainty and chaos. His unpredictable style and his willingness to break with tradition made it difficult to predict his next move, leaving both allies and adversaries guessing about his ultimate goals and strategies. The policy battlefield became a constant tug of war, with Trump using his executive power to advance his agenda in the face of legislative gridlock and legal challenges. A polarizing figure, defining the Trump legacy. Donald Trump's presidency was a period of unprecedented turbulence and division in American history. His unconventional style, unorthodox policies, and constant courting of controversy left an indelible mark on the nation's political and social fabric. He challenged long-held norms, upended political conventions, and exposed deep fissures in American society. His legacy is one of profound polarization, with supporters praising him as a transformative figure who challenged the status quo, and detractors condemning him as a demagogue who undermined democratic institutions and eroded social norms. His supporters point to his economic policies, particularly the tax cuts and deregulation, as evidence of his success. They credit him with appointing conservative judges, strengthening the military, and taking a tough stance on immigration and trade. They admire his willingness to challenge the Washington establishment and his direct connection with his base, often through social media. For his supporters, Trump represented a break from the perceived failures of the political elite and a return to a time when America was, in their view, stronger and more respected on the world stage. His detractors argue that his presidency was marked by chaos, incompetence, and a disregard for democratic norms. They point to his administration's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic, his attacks on the media and the judiciary, his attempts to overturn the results of the 2020 election, and his role in inciting the January 6th insurrection as evidence of his unfitness for office. They argue that he exacerbated racial tensions, emboldened white supremacists, and damaged America's standing in the world. For his critics, Trump represented a threat to American democracy and a stain on the nation's history. The debate over Trump's legacy is likely to continue for decades to come. His presidency was a watershed moment in American history, exposing deep divisions and raising fundamental questions about the nature of truth, the role of government, and the future of American democracy. Whether he is ultimately remembered as a transformative figure or a destructive force, his impact on American politics and society will be felt for generations to come.